Hello. Hello, everyone. This is Mano Behera. I'm joining you from Chicago. I am glad to be speaking to you all today. I see some of you have joined the chat box. Please use the chat box to introduce yourself and tell us where you're joining from. I see Charlie from New Orleans. Welcome. Mike from Geneva, Illinois. Welcome. Please log in. We will be using the chat area for interacting. So might as well just go ahead and log in and tell your name as well. I have a chance to also get to know where you're joining from. Now on the video, you should also see a screen that says 7 restaurant marketing strategies to grow revenue. If you're not seeing that, make sure you click on the play button. That's not so obvious. So please check that. Could you please confirm if you're able to see the video as well as hear my voice on the chat area so that we can get started. This is 3 o'clock. As a matter of fact, I was checking the time. So we will get started in a moment as soon as I get a confirmation from you saying yes. Please realize that there is a slight delay between the video and the presentation, so we'll have to cope with that. Now, what we are on time. We'll get started. But if you have to share with somebody who might benefit from this, please go ahead and do that as well. I see Harriet Parker from Aurora joining us. Welcome. Great. So we are on time, and we will get started right away. Again, welcome everyone. Glad you're able to join us today. Again, my name is Mano Behera, for those of you who joined a little late. Speaking to you live. Thank you, Harriet, for confirming. Speaking to you live from Chicago on June 22nd, Monday at 3 p.m. Central Time. So today, the agenda is I'm going to reveal my 7 restaurant marketing strategies to grow revenue. Now, in this presentation, I'm going to share how you can leverage digital marketing and emerging technologies that works for your business. So I'll be sharing a lot of information. Please get your pen and pads out, and let's kick things off. Okay, the first question is, who is this webinar for? Now, if this webinar is for you, if you're a restaurant owner of maybe a brand new restaurant, just a few months in the business, or have been running the business for, let's say, 5, 10, 20 plus years, and you're looking to either establish or grow the business. So using the digital strategies I'm going to share with you today, you will be able to do that very effectively. So please stick around. Now, this webinar is also for you if you are a restaurant manager and you're seeing new competition come up, or big chain competition invest heavily in digital marketing and advertising, and you might not have those big budgets. Well, today I'll show you how you can smartly reach and engage with your customers with digital marketing. Now, this webinar is also for you if you are a marketing managers and you have to deal with either a lean ad budget, or wondering how to deal again with all the new technologies coming up. And you hear this, with the Apple Watch coming out, and the tablets coming out, all the wearable technologies, and you're wondering how does this relate to you for your restaurant. So I'm going to show you how you can maximize the ROI on your marketing budget and incorporate some, not all, some of this new technologies into your restaurant marketing plan. And then if you're an operations manager and performance branding are important to you, I'll show you how digital strategies can enable some of those metrics. So in a nutshell, if filling empty tables, elevating guest engagement, and growing revenue are of interest, this webinar is for you. Okay, I will be hanging out a little longer, but stick around for the next 60 minutes, and I will share a lot of good information. We will have Q&A time in the end, but please go ahead and ask your questions in the chat box as they come up. As I just mentioned, there is a slight delay and between the chat box and the audio video, if you will. So so that way I can get the questions and I'll address it at the appropriate point in the presentation. And definitely we have some Q&A time in the end as well. So today we will be focusing. We are focusing on filling empty tables, right? Raising guest engagement and growing revenue using digital marketing. Now, let me show you, to kind of kick things off, some scenarios of what that looks like, right? So, beginning with almost the end in mind. So this is a scenario where we are attempting to fill slow nights, and I'm going to run some numbers. So in this scenario, you have 1,000 email subscribers, and we'll talk more about email along this presentation. And you want to choose a slow night and run a promotion any night. And with the average open rates of 30%, 20 to 30%, and a redeem rate every time you put out a promotion of 3%, we are looking to bring in 30 new visits to that slow night, translating to $1,500 of revenue in a night, right? So just to give you a scenario, like what that looks like in terms of numbers, right, to begin with. Now, moving on, another scenario, right? We're doing a little bit better with our email marketing and digital marketing in overall, and now you have 2,500 email subscribers in your customer database, and you're running 2 promotions per month, right? So now you have done better, and we'll talk about all the strategies in detail, but you have done better at engagement, and your open rates are now a little higher than the 20-30% industry average, up to 40-50%. And then you have better redemption in your offers and promotions in the tune of from 5%. So you're looking at over a month, through your digital marketing efforts, adding little up around 12 grand a month, right? So just to give you a scenario, what those numbers look like. And then finally, I want to show you another scenario, a top line growth campaign, where you're running 2 campaigns in a year. Let's say a summer campaign and then a holiday campaign, and each campaign could be last as from 60 to 90 to 120 days, depending upon how you design it. And then now what you have done is you have really grown your list to a sizable number, 5,000 plus, and you have done a good job in open rates. So people are actually responding to your communications. And as I said, the campaigns could consist of multiple promotions. So overall redeem rate of 25%, you're adding this to your top line growth. So I want you to kind of take these numbers and see what are the possibilities depending upon where you're at, and we're going to talk about it. That does it make sense from your standpoint, right? Now, before I go too much ahead, a quick introduction about myself. Some of you I have met, know me, but very quickly, I grew up in the eastern part of India, and while finishing up college, I knew I was going to pursue my dream of being an entrepreneur. And what better place in the entire world than America? So I left everyone I knew at that point of my time in my life, family, friends, took a flight halfway around the world, literally halfway around the world, and did not know a single person in America. Scary, but if the dream is big enough, I guess the facts don't matter. That was a long time back, almost 22, 23 years ago. Landed in University of Miami, home of the Miami Hurricanes, and completed my master's degree in biomedical engineering. And then after that, I moved to the Windy City, Chicago, and I lived there. And in terms of my professional career, have been involved with a few startups in my career, as well as consulted for various Fortune 500 companies. Been involved with technology, innovation, strategy at General Motors, Harley Davidson, and McDonald's, right? So this kind of had been my journey. Now, one of the things I want to mention is, interestingly, on one hand, as part of the technology strategy team at McDonald's, where I was helping implement technology across the 30,000 plus restaurants worldwide. Now, on the other hand, I closely observed many independent restaurants in the local community, and friends and family who own restaurants around the country. Now, they were working hard with the day-to-day running of the business, but as they were trying to grow the business, they were either not leveraging the digital platform at all or doing it poorly. when it came to the digital plan, it was pretty much, throwing up a website, a Facebook page, and maybe running a Groupon deal. And the website was pretty much static and not engaging and not sure really helping drive revenue. Facebook page again was very one way, not being conversational, with just posting promotions, on a daily basis. And obviously the Groupon story, in many cases sound ill-designed and not producing the results they were hoping for. So overall, now this is what I observed: the digital plan was not very integrated, and surely not aligned to the business goals, and surely not really supporting it, right? So now, as I was, I did observe, being in strategy, that Starbucks, the Paneras, the McDonald's, right? They were literally putting in, pouring in millions towards implementing digital in their restaurants. But for independent restaurants and the smaller restaurants, they did not either have the in-house expertise or the big budgets to leverage digital effectively. But you know what? I mean, among all these things, there was one thing which really encouraged. Encouraging sign. There was one advantage independent and the smaller restaurants and smaller businesses have, and that is very simply the smaller businesses could be nimble and can actually have an agile approach, right? Now, the advantage of this they specifically have is they can actually create and align the digital plan to the business goals, make decisions quicker. And importantly, there is no silver bullet, in any space, but so they can afford to actually try, fail, learn, adjust faster, and do things, with a faster cycle, right? Now, with larger entities and larger corporations, any kind of planning cycle was typically a year, 2 years, 5 years on larger projects. But smaller restaurants and smaller businesses actually can have 60, 90-day plans. And that's what we will be talking about. How can you actually move the needle on your business leveraging digital plan within the next 60, 90 days, not in the next year, not the next 2 years, 5 years for sure, right? Because in many of the cases, we don't have that luxury, right? So I'll give you a very small example. What could you do, right? Being agile, learning and growing and changing quicker. Those of you who know the Facebook ad platform, you can literally, run ads for $10 a day for a week. And we did this for a client, and we were able to reach 11,000 people within a 10-mile radius. And obviously our focus was on awareness, right? Because we were launching a new online ordering and delivery for this particular client. But in return, we actually got even hundreds of clicks to the restaurant and traffic to the restaurant, right? So that was for $10 a day for about a week. So less than $100, you're able to get this kind of visibility and word out there, if you will. So I believe that small businesses actually have an advantage here, which they could leverage. Okay, so with that thought in mind, last year, early 2014, I launched the company, the Digital Restaurant, living corporate, and with a single-minded focus of really helping restaurants succeed, leveraging the digital strategy, right? So that's been my journey, and really, the Digital Restaurant is a digital agency for restaurants, providing full service consulting and training solutions. And as a company, as I mentioned, we are focused on restaurants and restaurants only, right? So we believe that by focusing on building this marketing platform for restaurants, we can provide the greatest value, because now we can optimize it for restaurants, right? So so we are becoming the #1 marketing platform of choice for restaurants, especially smaller restaurants with less than 20 units. So that's about the company, and we might talk about it in the end a little more. But this is one of our clients. One of the key things is we serve our clients, which are small businesses, right? So this is one of our clients in this Chicagoland area. Been a great help, done a wonderful job, and we do it quickly and efficiently, because we realize we don't have 12 months, 18 months to move the needle. We literally have to do pretty quickly, right? So this is a particular client who did not even have a website, and especially being a catering business before Christmas, and they were desperate. And so when we talked to them for the first time, they said we need it yesterday. So we were able to put up their website, and they were able to kind of make that connection to their customers, and they have a web presence pretty quickly, literally the week before Christmas. So as an example, right? So we really work with our clients to help them where they need the help, right? So okay, so let me kind of set some so what the first one is, like, what is your number one goal as it relates to digital marketing? Now please use the chat box below, and as I said, there is a slight delay, so by the time you type and what I see, it will take some time. But is it revenue growth? Is it expanding to a new segment? There's a lot of buzz around, paying attention to the millennials and stuff. So is that one of your number priorities? Or general brand awareness, or dealing with competition? So please go ahead and kind of mention in the chat area, what is your number one goal you like to address with digital marketing? So the next question I have is, state your, kind of current state of digital. Where are you? Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One is maybe you don't even have a presence. 1, 2 is you somehow have put together a presence. 3 is you have a presence plus some engagement. Maybe on social platforms. 4 is you do have a good promotion program to attract new customers, and the 5 is you do have a good retain program through your loyalty. So go ahead and please mention 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I have a sense of where you guys are at. Okay. Good. Next, I want to share with you, while I'm waiting for your response, is 2 sources of information. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details over here. The whole idea here was to kind of share some information. And this is information, frankly speaking, you're already aware, right? This is a report, 2015 report from Edison Research, came out in March, called Infinite Dial Report, talking about now 7 out of 10 people have a smartphone. People listen to internet radio. Podcasting is growing. People perceive technology as a good thing, and in the whole world is watching YouTube, right? So so that's nothing new, right? And then on the right, just the NRA show that happened here in Chicago, I was able to attend and capture some of the notes. So these are my notes, right? And I thought there was something really, really important I wanted to share. So one of the important things is 90% of guests know about the restaurant even before coming in for the first time. That's huge, think about it. So they're actually, know everything about the restaurant, from the menu, where they're located, reviews, ratings, everything, and making a decision to come to the restaurant even before the first time they decide to come in. So very simply, your online presence is really important. And then he talked about millennials, right? They're using social and mobile, where they should dine. They view dining as a social event. So for them, social media is part of the life. So whatever as they're living the life, including the dining experience, they're well connected and literally living on the social media, right? Here is an interesting thing about tabletop devices. You must have heard news about many big brands like Chili's and Applebee's introducing tablets on tabletop as devices. But the general feeling was the tabletop devices really need to provide a seamless integration and enhance the guest experience, and very, very importantly, it should not actually take away from the guest experience, right? So some important thoughts there. Okay. And obviously, again, online ordering, delivery, no wait apps, all looking for convenience. So we are a convenience driven society, and anything as a business we can do to help that is only good there. And finally, too many seats, not enough posterior. So now we are snacking more, we're eating out on the go more. So we have to take in that fact, right? So again, nothing new here, and none of this should come as a surprise. And if you're running a business, you're already aware, you feel it, you understand that. But the important question here is, really, is your digital plan aligned to business goals, right? And is your digital plan working, right? And when I say digital plan is working, it's just more than, lately I've been talking to business restaurant owners, and they've been asking me the question, website visits, right? Likes on Facebook, shares on Facebook. Okay, great. But what does that mean for my business? And okay, how does that help the business? And this has been a recurring trend in my conversations with some of our local clients, and I totally agree, right? So if when your digital player is working, you got, it's more than impressions or shares. The bottom line is it helping my business connect with consumers across the digital landscape, engaging with them effectively, and ultimately bringing them through my doors the first time and over again, right? So that's really what is, is it really helping, align to your business goals of growth, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about, right? Let me switch over to a chat a little bit. Lindsay, welcome. State of Digital 4. Sean, welcome. I'm seeing you on the chat. Great, fantastic. Let's move along. Okay, so now, I promised you the 7 restaurant marketing strategies. So here they are, right? So we'll talk about 3 buckets, right? So building, nurturing, and converting, right? Building your customer database, then, nurturing your customers in a very effective manner, and then converting now, okay? So without any further, I'm going to dive in one at a time and talk, more details behind it. And then we're going to summarize in the end, to kind of put everything together. Number 1, build one customer database. Now, what do we mean by the customer database? Now, when you look at your customer base, right, the customer pyramid now shows the range from those who are aware of your business to the most loyal, right? And, your dining customer sits on top of that pyramid, right? So they have actually traveled, from their homes and come and entered through your front doors and dine and experienced you, right? Then you have online ordering and delivery, and then catering and website visitors, social media, and so on and so forth, right? So understanding this is the first step, right? So who are your customers and what level they are in, from being aware to being familiar. They like you, they love you, and they are the most loyal customers of you, right? That once you understand that, the next step is really around building that one database. Now, what do I mean by one database? Today, if you take a look at it, if you have any digital programs in place today, you will see that your customers are all in different fragmented databases, if you will, right? So if you have an email list, they are an email club. If you have a loyalty program, especially the third-party loyalty programs, and we'll talk about that along the way, then there's a bunch customers there. Then you have online ordering customers, right? If you have a native online ordering on your website, that's great. You have their email address information. But if they are on online ordering platforms like Grubhub and other platforms, then Grubhub doesn't even share their information with you, right? So so they're in again fragmented. Website visitors, Facebook followers, mobile app feedback cards, those information sitting in a fishbowl or on your countertop. So the first step is to really bring it together into one database. This is so critical, as in this is the first start, right? Now, once you have it in one place, then you can think about plans to really engage with them and convert them, right? So now how do you do that? All right. So okay, let's before I go. Okay, so let's get aligned here. So we want to have all those things in one place, right? And if you have an email marketing program, then your email database is that one database. Okay, let's move on to the next one, right? Build, create an irresistible giveaway. Now, what is this about? This is targeting your online visitors, right? Your website visitors, on social media visitors, right? To exchange the customer information for a free giveaway. And we refer to it as something called ethical bribe, right? And the bribe is like, we will give you this thing, and in exchange for your information, which, begins with your email address and other information about you, right? Now, what could that look like? Now, this is a chance for you to get creative, right? Like, if you are a pizzeria, you can talk about creating infographic or a PDF about how to make pizza. Or if you're a healthy concept, then you can put out relevant relevant PDF about how to get your veggies for your kids, right? Or you can use the time tested couponing, right? So if you join us, give your email address, we'll give you a free dessert, or or we'll give you something for free, right? So whatever the strategy is, you're creating something irresistible, so people who are visiting your website, people who are on social media, are getting converted into your signing up for your database. Okay. Number two, number three here is in the building is know your dining guests. If you refer to the pyramid, um, I talked about your dining guests are the most important, sitting on the top of the pyramid. So you got to get to know. So today, if you observe, and this is almost comes natural to you, any customers who come into you through the doors, it's very natural for you to build the relationship, talk to them, engage with them, and you do training for your staff to have a smile and engage, ask them how they're doing, and build that relationship, right? And then the other things is, now we ask for the feedback through those feedback cards, and ask them to drop their business cards to drop in. So this has traditionally been, but if you take a look at it, obviously, there is a limit, right? To number of guests coming into the doors, how much you can physically interact with them. And obviously, if there's multiple locations, then it becomes difficult. But then if you look at the feedback and the business card drop fishbowl concept, they are really, really very low response rates. I mean, I don't have the hard numbers, but you can take a guess. For every 100 people you provide the feedback card, how many people fill those up? And in this day and age, asking somebody to write something on paper is, you might as well ask them to jump off the cliff. That will be easier, right? So what we came up with the innovative concept, and this was not like we created this thing, and this was actually one of our client requests. Now, how do we capture? We're having this client of ours in Chicago area. We want to really build a database, but we are not very comfortable asking for their email address. And so we actually created the solution, talking to them and hearing how it works. So we created this guest checkout tablet, and this works in a very simple manner, right? At checkout, the wait server asks how is everything. It's very natural, right? And then listen to the guests, and they hand out the tablet, guest checkout tablet, for about 5 minutes. So they leave the tablet, they go in and run the credit card, and the guest actually is interacting with the tablet in one of 4 ways, right? And so it's not like give your email address, but in a very engaging way, if you will, right? So like join the email club, right, to get a free coupon or something, right? And then asking them for the feedback. Okay, we are not even talking about this and not on the agenda, but asking them to tell us what they think about their dining experience. We are doing reputation management before it becomes even a reputation issue. Like people, if they don't have a good experience or whatever the scenario is, they go and put a bad review on Yelp. Now we have a chance to catch their feedback, and sometimes they just need to be heard, right? And provide them a channel to provide the feedback, and this response directly goes to the restaurant manager, and we can respond before it even goes to become a bad feedback. Okay, so that is one very important functionality we provide on this tablet. Play and win is a trivia. It's a fun trivia to win something, right? And then obviously get rewards is tying into your loyalty program, whether it be it a tablet loyalty or mobile loyalty. We'll talk as actually later in this in this deck we'll talk about it. So what we are doing here is really allowing the guests, and as they're waiting for their credit card or the cash change to come back, that 5 minutes of dead time or a few minutes to interact with the tablet and provide the information. Right now, he must be thinking, now I have to get a tablet, now I have to get your software, and the answer is no, right? Whatever you have right now currently, and you can actually leverage that. If you have an email list going, in many cases they will always have an app to capture. You can put that in a tablet literally, and you'll be running in your on your floor, pretty soon. Or if you do have a loyalty program already, which probably has an app running, you could do that, right? So there are many innovative ways to do that. And I want to remind you, this was an innovative response to a request from our clients to come up, right? And obviously we are making this available for our other clients as well, based on their needs. And obviously this works for a dining restaurant, right? Okay, before I move ahead, so this is a way for us to rapidly build the email list, because in one of the 4 ways, we are actually capturing their customer information, we are having fun, we are engaging with the clients, so we are actually killing multiple birds with one stone here. Okay, so now let's move on to nurture. And I'm taking a quick look at the chat here, and Lindsay, you show me an image, but I'm not sure what the question there is. Oh, okay. So the question here is it's blurred and unreadable. Not sure if that is intended or there was. No, it was not intended, Lindsay. I'm not sure why it is blurred, because I'm sharing a screen over here through my video, but I'd love to share, and there will be a replay. I don't know if that is going to be any help. But if you do have any specific questions, I'd love to answer that. The best thing maybe is just respond back to the email, and I can do that. I'm not sure how I can improve the quality as we are live on this webinar right now, but I'll keep this in mind, and maybe in the future take a look at why it is blurred. Okay, but thanks for being to attention. Sorry, Lindsay. There's not a whole lot of I'm running out of ideas of what I can do better to kind of make it more clear. Okay, just to continue on. Okay, number 4 is nurture is the choosing an engagement channel. So till this point, the first 3, we have actually built our database on various channels, right? Now we are into nurturing, and how do we nurture that relationship with our customers, right? Now when you look at there's so many ways to nurture relationships with our clients online, right? And obviously if social media channel is one of them. But then if you take a look at here, I show kind of like an assessment, if you will, where everything is placed right now. How are we connecting and communicating with the customers, right? So from left to right is from a cost perspective, low cost, right to high cost left. And then from an engagement effectiveness, if you will, low engagement below and high engagement, right? So if you take a look at, the top left corner, you see billboards, have, decent engagement, because every time you pass by, you can't ignore them, you have to see them, right? But they're also high cost, right? And the bottom left corner, if you look at mailers, if you've been using mailers and coupons and radio, again, cost depends upon what you're doing. Mailers could run into thousands, but then, low engagement, how many people really see a certain percentage of that, right? Now on the bottom left, bottom right corner, you see, some businesses employ, what do you call them? The man with the dancing sign, right? I don't have a technical word for that, but apparently it's probably effective, right? And then you have the Facebook and organic traffic, right? Now, as you are aware, and we'll talk a little bit more down the lane here, but Facebook organic traffic has drastically reduced, because they want you to pay for advertising, right? So it has dropped from a 16% a year ago to less than 1 to 2% to even less today, right? So you must have realizing that every time you post something, even though you have maybe hundreds or even thousands of fans, only a very small percentage of people are actually seeing it, because they want you to boost your post. So the organic traffic has decreased, right? Now if you look at the top right corner, the paid Facebook ads are very effective, right? For, as I talked about, for $10 a day, the kind of reach you can have, right? And but also email marketing, we will talk about that, and I say that the 3.0 is the advanced email marketing, is where at a relatively low cost you can accomplish high engagement, and and that's what we're going to talk about, right? So you want to be in the top right corner, if you will, from an engagement and cost perspective. Okay. I guess the question is, people ask is, what should I do? Should I be on social platform? Yeah, I guess it depends upon your ideal customer, right? Where do they hang out on the digital landscape? And once if your ideal customer, is the baby boomers, versus the Gen X and the Gen Ys, they hang out in different platforms, right? And so you want to be in the same platform your ideal customers are, right? So if you understand, if you've done an analysis, this is one of the things you do is understand where your customer segment hangs out. Then you can determine where you need to be. But then there is always a question about should I do email or social media, or this is almost like an ongoing battle going on right? And it is it does it, and my perspective is they are really two different things, right? In social media, but there's some hard numbers though, right? Pew Research on the left hand side, and I am aware that you might not be able to see those numbers because of the blurring issue, so I'm going to read it out for you. So Pew Research Center put out the percentage daily open rates of email versus social media, and what it is telling is email among the 18 to 29 year olds is at a 62% versus 60% of social media. And then as we go to the 30 to 49 age group and 50 to 64 age group, it is pretty consistent, over 60% on email, whereas the social media open rates of 30 to 49s and the 50 to 64s actually drastically drops to about 20%. So that answers the question, what is effective from email to social media? It's not necessarily saying that it is drop one and take the other. I think it is complementary. And the reason I say complementary, social media is an indirect approach, right? You can be entertaining to be effective, but email is a very direct approach, right? For conversions, email is still converts better overall. Now you can send a coupon directly through email and that will convert, but you have to be careful about putting out too much direct coupons on the social media. Okay, so I hope provided enough perspective of that. But the essence is for you to choose the right engagement channel to be effectively nurturing your customers, right? Next is nurturing is sharing content, right? Now sharing content, the benefit of sharing content is and this is where email and communication through digital channels are evolved generally, right? Back in a few years, we used to refer to communicating as blasts, right? Do an email blast, right? Or do this blast. Okay, now we quickly realized that through spam filters and people generally totally xing those communications out. So today, if you have to really get somebody's attention, you actually have to provide value, right? And then and the best way to do that is through content, right? Provide value, you provide brand awareness. Good content helps to create brand awareness, and good content nurtures the relationship, and and definitely helps with conversion and overall increasing the brand loyalty, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about this, but content is you must have heard the expression content is king, and yes, it is king, and it is much more relevant today than ever before. Okay, and then how do we do that? Specifically some tactics here. If you look at your emails and even in social media platforms, there is really not the right balance of promotion versus value, right? So what we have, we recommend all our clients, is a ratio of 3:1. Once somebody gets into your email list or to your database, we recommend providing value before we promote. Okay, and that way people are receptive and are open-minded for your communications, and this is going to be key, because unless you are able to nurture effectively, then those numbers and scenarios we showed earlier are not going to be very effective. Okay, how does this look like? This is I'm looking at a marketing calendar, and this is how it looks like for the month of June. So we're doing some soft promo, article relevant content, and this is for a pizzeria restaurant, one of our local clients, pizzeria. So we are actually doing, barbecue season. Father's Day just happened last weekend. By the way, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, right? And then doing the promo, so that in this combination of sharing content as well and then promoting, you have high engagement. Okay. Then the next, let's take a good look at a check on time. 39 minutes. Okay, great. Okay, number 6 is integrate your marketing calendar. Okay, and actually it's kind of tying to the previous point I just talked about. The way to do that is really take a holistic look at your marketing calendar, which integrates your promotions and editorial content in that balance we talked about, in the right balance, right? How does it look like? Let me go back to, so there are two things. One is the promotions calendar. You're putting out promotions, and the other one is sharing editorial content, right? So how does that look like? If you look in here, you see that, okay, first of all, we are doing our annual calendar events. You see the Father's Day over there, July 4th over there, coming up next month. Then you're doing content, what are the things you're going to be sharing, and then you're talking about the promos, okay, you're going to be running. Now you don't see the actual promos in this planner, but the promos could be, July 4th could be, half off, or could be, Father's Day, get free dessert. So whatever that is, you design, is going to be tied into there. So you're integrating into marketing calendar. And the key thing is not, take a look at your marketing as like an ad hoc. Oh, July 4th is coming on, let me put out some promotions. No, but take a look at it in an annual, calendar. And that's what one of the first things we do is we actually design the annual calendar, for the 12 months, and really take a look at how our promotions are balanced and what's the content. And one of the benefits of that is you can actually look back and take a look back and see how your calendar has been performing, and give you a chance of important data to optimize and improve. Okay. So we talked about the marketing calendar. Then you deliver the promotions and track redemption. I just mentioned that you want to track your redemptions so that you can see the performance. So how do you deliver redemptions? In many ways. You can do simple QR codes through your email marketing, or you can do, if you do have mobile apps, like some of the loyalty programs have mobile apps, you can do those punch cards, mobile deals, can be delivered, right? So there are various channels, but the important thing is you're delivering the promotions, and then you're tracking the redemptions to see what is resonating with your customer base, and accordingly optimizing your marketing efforts, right? So this is how you kind of improve upon your effectiveness. Okay. And then finally, number 7 is really simplify your loyalty program. And what I mean by that is, today, if you take a look at it, only 44% of loyalty members are active. Simply, they're too complicated, right? Cards to carry, coupons to print this and bring it along, mobile phone apps to download. So it's just too complicated, right? And imagine, if I'm going to a restaurant, I'm going there for an experience, okay? Yes, I will collect my reward points and count that and punch in and stuff, but it should not be my primary concern, right? And if you will, right? So I'm there to have an experience, and yes, and I would like to get rewarded, but I don't want to jump through the hoops to be rewarded for being loyal, right? So that's the general sense, my thought process, right? So they're too complicated, and they do not engage with customers once the dining experience. So once I leave, most of the loyalty programs are really not engaging with their customers. Okay. So our recommendation is choose the right loyalty program depending upon your concept, whether you're a dining concept or a carry out and delivery. So you can choose, right, between tablet loyalty, right, and this is what one of the things we had integrated into our guest checkout tablets, if you remember earlier in our presentation, right? Mobile loyalty programs, very popular among millennials and the younger crowd, okay, because they are the cell phone, more smartphone usage is very high, and they're on the smartphones all the time, right? So, or simplify your operations through a POS loyalty, just like you would see that in Walgreens. As you're checking out, you punch in your phone number, and it kind of checks in for you, right? So run it through a POS system with no additional hardware required, kind of thing. So this is what I was referring to, right? So one of the things I want you to think about is, when you think about loyalty programs, what should you choose? And in a custom loyalty program for your business versus a third-party rewards. On the left, you see, restaurants just like Behera's and Starbucks have their custom loyalty program. Apart from the loyalty program, they're great branding tools, right? On the right, you have the Spring, the Belly programs. Okay, these are huge networks now, which you could participate and helpful in attracting traffic, right? So, but you have to make a decision, balancing where you want to brand versus you want to attract more traffic, right? And so that's the decision for you to make, and we cannot just say one or the other. Okay, so I shared with you, all right? So all the 7, in pretty quick fashion. So let's summarize the 7 strategies. What did we do here, right? So we talked about the first step of building, in which to set up and consolidate all your one customer database and start to grow it rapidly. Then create an irresistible giveaway to exchange the email address on website and social, right? So next is to know your dining guests, by getting their email feedback and engage with them effectively. Okay, the next step was to nurture by choosing the most effective engagement channel for your customer segment, which is the most relevant, and then share value and relevant content, okay, to build that relationship, okay, and really establish that relationship and have that open channel of communication. And remember that this is where you have that 50%, 75% response rates we talked about in those initial scenarios, right? And then finally you convert by developing an integrated marketing calendar, and balancing your content and the promotions and delivering, those effectively, right? Then the final strategy is to take a look at your loyalty program to ensure it is simple and effective in driving customers to your business, right? Now, so this is what forms an integrated digital marketing plan for your restaurant. Now, you can incorporate each of these 7 strategies as a whole, or in your current marketing plan, or you can take a look at your current marketing plan and see where you can fit in some of those, right? So we will recommend that you begin by scoping out what you can implement over the next 90 days. Now, when you leave this webinar, you will have received a lot of great information from me. But now, if you haven't done this before, it can be a bit overwhelming, I agree, right? So now, if it is okay, let me show you kind of like a fast and easy way to accelerate your success in digital marketing for your restaurant. So let me introduce you to some of our services offered by the digital restaurant. What we have is really our full service, and on the right is we talked about we are a digital agency for restaurants, and hence our digital marketing platform is optimized for restaurants, right? So we offer the digital marketing full service package, and this is a done for you service for putting together a comprehensive digital marketing program to build, nurture, and convert, right? And you get a pre-configured guest tablet we talked about as well, and we set up bi-weekly meetings to track progress, and we're managing a project here, right? So, and obviously this package is we have for this to work, fit is very important for success, your goals and how we work. So we only offer limited spots, is available, because it takes dedicated resources in our team for each of this engagement, right? So what we recommend is, best way for you to avail our full service package is actually go through our digital strategy session on the left, right? The digital strategy session is a detailed assessment, a 21-point audit of restaurant systems to menus and really restaurant operations to determine your best restaurant marketing focus, right? We perform a SWOT analysis and develop a digital roadmap, okay? So at the end, we and then also, all the things we talked about today, we determine exactly, the 7 strategies to implement and how to sequence them for the best results. So you get a digital roadmap, and a 90-day plan of action to execute the project, right? So the way we go about it is we set up a 60-minute call with follow-up, to the actual strategy session, and then we have follow-up, per your needs, and then QA calls, whatever it takes to kind of help you get on track. Okay, this is priced at 197, and we kept it low, all right, so that this is a chance for you to engage with our team after this webinar. Okay. So these are, I wanted to show you what are the outputs that come out. Really, there is a from the strategy session, comes up a report which kind of inventories the whole session, and then makes the recommendation. And then what you have on the right is a digital roadmap. What you see, there are multiple paths, so this is like a general template, but when we do this for your restaurant, after the stress, it is going to be one path, because we want you to take one path, on multiple paths, right? A clear path over the next 90 days, 6 months, 1 year, so that you are moving along in your digital journey, if you will, right? And so these are the things that come out of the strategy. Now, let me give you a peek of our digital marketing platform, a very simple view of things. Obviously, it is not that simple. In the back end, there's a lot of things happening, but in the just a simple view is we do have a marketing platform which has email, SMS, custom loyalty there, all supporting one customer database. Then there is a content portion over there which feeds into our email and loyalty, and as well as our website and social also, right? So you can reuse the content in all these areas. Then you have customer facing. We talked about the guest tablet and mobile app through your loyalty program. So that you're engaging with your guests. So that's kind of like a quick view of our digital marketing platform. And we talked about how we are optimized to to serve the restaurants. We only serve restaurant clients. We're not just a digital agency serving everybody, hospitals and doctors and restaurant. No, we only serve restaurant. That's why all of this thing is optimized. Each of those things you see over there, even a content team is optimized for restaurants. Our email marketing, our loyalty program, again, is all customized for restaurants. Okay. Here is a client testimonial and how we actually put to use. This is a lot of text. I don't expect you to read this, but I just wanted to let you know. This is another client, again, went to the holidays without a website for whatever reason when we talked to them. So we want, we got them up and running in a very simple, easy, and very friendly way. And this is one of the things they mentioned there in the yellow there. We do not get that many phone calls about basic information about a restaurant, like hours, menus, because they can now find the information on a newly designed website, right? So just in a testimony in how we're solving, digitally, right? And then, they talk about, the typical needs of a small business is it needs to get quick in this business. You do not want to wait 3 or 4 months. It will cost you a lot of money, and it had been costing this business, this restaurant, a lot of money without a website, because their website was down for many months before we came in and helped them out, right? And finally, this was a customer who talked about how we want to do marketing, email marketing, but we have no way to get the customer email address. So this is the customer which where we introduced the guest checkout tablet. And the one of the most interesting things and surprising, pleasantly surprised, was for every time this guest tablet is presented, we almost see a 90 to 90 over 90% response rate from the guests. Very seldom does the guest said, no, I'm not going to give my information, right? Because it is fun, it's engaging, and it is it is something they are curious about, to give their email address. Okay. Anyway, so I just want to give you a sense of how we engage with our each of our clients to solve their specific needs. Again, so by now you should see a button below, right? If you click the button below, it should take you through to simple sign up. Now, once you sign up, you will get a email confirmation, and they will provide you with scheduling information for the actual strategy session, right? So we'll schedule that, we'll sync up our availabilities, and we'll schedule that through a Skype call. If you are in the area, I'd love to pay you visit to your restaurant, but we can do that over the through a video conference as well. Okay. Okay, great. Let's take a look at. Okay, fantastic. So we have 7 minutes for QA. If you do have any questions, please drop them in the chat area. Okay, so that I can help answer them. I know that through the email, I got some questions, and I'll go ahead and can start answering that, and I'll wait for your questions on the chat area. Now, one of the things is, should I buy an email list? Okay, it seems like in a simple way to, just get the email list, right? My simple answer is no, for a couple of reasons. First thing is, as you're aware of the Can Spam Act, literally, it has a $16,000 fine per violation, right? So what has happened is you cannot buy. So the providers, email providers who are doing that, actually going around it and saying you can rent our list. Okay, just a technical loophole, if you will. But apart from that, the most important thing is, it really doesn't work. The reason is, quality is more important. The relationships are important. So you're actually spending money which is not really worth it, right? Now, if you have done that in the past, it has worked for you, I have nothing to say. But if you're starting out today, it is much better, because you're not just building your email list. As you're building your email list, you're actually also establishing those relationships which are so critical, right? And that loyalty, driving the response rates, right? So I hope I have answered that question. And not to buy the email list. Any other questions? Oh, okay. So there was another question about, should I do email marketing? I've heard email marketing is dead. Okay. This was an email. They predicted email marketing to be dead back in 2012. And me being in strategy, I tracked all those things. So they predicted that instant messaging is going to replace email, and in some corporate scenarios, there were even talks about abolishing email altogether and using instant messaging and collaboration spaces, to kind of run the whole company, right? Well, this is 2015, and email is still live and well, not just live and well, even better, and it provides the most effective and the least expensive, if you will, right, channel for for communicating with your customer group. So no doubt, email is not dead. It's live and well, and it's actually one of the most effective. And as you can tell, we are big fans, and we have been using email as one of our marketing tools, right? So okay, any question? I'm tracking the chat area and my email at the same time, trying to get past. Okay. So there is a question about Groupon. We ran a Groupon in the past. It did not work for us. To keep the answer short, I can do a whole webinar on Groupon itself. A couple of things. First of all, you want to head to my website, thedigitalrestaurant.com. And there is a whole checklist on Groupon. You see on the homepage on the right side. Please go ahead and download that if Groupon is your question. But here is my thought on Groupon. Right, Groupon is 30-40 million user platform, and the demographics is mostly young women, right? So if your ideal customer segment overlaps with the young woman, okay, you want to take a look at Groupon, right? Now, if done right, okay, it can open the doors to a whole new customer segment. If not done right, it can cost the business and erode the brand image. It can cost the business. In simple terms, if you run the deals of 50% off and 50% profit sharing with Groupon, you're literally running at 25% effectively of your menu price, right? So you have to really be on the top of numbers from your labor and food costs, right? Now, so that is one aspect. The other one is, if you don't structure your deal right and you don't time it right, you can erode the brand image and really attract the deal seekers. The best way to do that, and I talk about that in that some of the blog posts and in that checklist, is you want to use Groupon as a traffic source, right? And just like any traffic source, you want to do certain things, your marketing campaign, if you will, to attract the traffic source to your restaurant or restaurant website, right? But once they're in your restaurant website, you have to have process and a system in place to keep them engage with them, keep them, and bring them back without offering them a coupon, right? So this is where your email marketing and engaging with them while they are at your restaurant is so important, right? So I hope I gave some insights over there. And as I said, this is a topic in itself, and you can spend an hour talking about how to structure the deal, what should be the ideal timing, and how to really integrate Groupon marketing into your overall digital marketing. Okay, great. 2729, could you please tell your name so that I know who is speaking? 2729. Sorry, I get your questions. I agree with you. This is regarding the financial viability of Groupon. Great. Oh, this was another question I got, was on the right time to put a digital plan, right? When is the right time? And this was from business owner, new business owner planning on a restaurant opening shortly in the next few months, and was asking the question, when should we invest in a digital marketing? Typically, this is my recommendation: before the day of launch, about 4 to 6 weeks at least before the grand opening, you have to run a digital campaign to support your marketing launch. Okay, and so that way you can get the best grand opening, because grand opening is one time in your business, right? So you can maximize the best of launches through your digital campaign. So 4 to 6 weeks before your launch, you could run Facebook ads, for example. You can run your email list, you can run your website, and it may not be the whole website, but at least your presence, so that you're able to interact with your with your potential customers and have a great opening, right? So so if you have the time, if you're not already 6 weeks, right? So as I said, the best time was, if you're not already open, you're planning to open, was 4 to 6 weeks. If you're already open, and the best time is today. And not the best time is someday later after everything is in place. That's really not the best time, right? Because you got to look at digital marketing as supporting your business plan. Digital marketing is not an end in itself. It's actually, its whole purpose is to help you with your business success, right? So it is helping you to kind of grow your business, launch your business, whatever state of business you are in. Okay, so I hope I answered the question. Right time to put a business plan ASAP, right? This should really be part of your grand opening launch plan. Thank you, Harriet, for asking that question. Absolutely agree with you. Evaluate the financial viability of Groupon, and really on the Groupon. Coming back to the Groupon question, is Groupon needs to be part of a larger strategy. It cannot be in itself. You cannot just run a Groupon and that's it. It needs to be on the back end, have an email marketing strategy. So if somebody coming through Groupon, let me play this out. So you put together a Groupon deal. If somebody comes in, you are able to recognize them. They are a Groupon customer while they are visiting you. That you should be able to engage with them, get their feedback, get their email address, and then really be able to encourage and nurture them, and be able to through your experience and your food and your value offering, be able to bring them without offering another coupon. So that's really what you should be striving for, because I totally agree. If you're running your whole business on Groupon, you're running at 25% literally of your menu costs, and that's not viable, right? So Okay, we are past the hour. I will be sticking around and answering as many questions you have. Don't mind, but I want to respect your time. It is 4 o'clock Central Time, and great questions, great conversations. And again, I want to thank Lindsay for bringing to my attention about the blurring issue. But Lindsay, if you do have specific questions, I would be more than happy to answer via email. Any other questions? Good. I'm just checking the chat area, and I'm also checking the email. Okay, fantastic. We do not have any more questions. I believe there was one question about how do we increase engagement on Facebook. Okay. I could again spend another webinar on trying to do that. And I do have some resources on the website, thedigitalrestaurant.com, on Facebook engagement. Please read the blog post. But really, it comes down to content, right? Content. We talked about really instead of just promotion, have engaging content in terms of images, videos, conversations, asking questions is really the key. And obviously you have to understand that the organic reach has been decreasing, so that is a reality. And you could strategically boost some of the posts to up the engagement, but it is probably unrealistic to boost every post, right? So the question is, how do I increase engagement on Facebook? I look at it holistically, to do certain things organically, but then also kind of back it up through email marketing is another possible strategy to kind of have it work in a complementary fashion together, and that way you can also increase your engagement on Facebook. I know I didn't give much details on this question, but there is a blog post on this article. If you go to thedigitalrestaurant.com blog and search for Facebook, you should be able to get that article, which has a detailed assessment of how we can, what are the approaches to be able to do that. Okay, unless you do have any more questions on chat, I am going to do that now. If you if you do have it now, I didn't mention this, but if you do have any issues with going through and clicking through the buttons of that signing up process, the email is support@digitalrestaurant.com. Or you could actually just respond to the the webinar sign up information you just received. You must have an email box, and any issues you have over there will be, our support team will be happy to assist you. With that, pretty much we are done, and appreciate all the good questions, and we'll talk to you soon.